Hey, what's going on, Cowboys Nation? Like always, it's Primetime Film. Welcome back to Primetime Studios. And I'm here with my co-host, of course, GameTime Bryan. What's going on, Bryan?
What's up, Primetime Phil? What's going on, man? It was kind of what we thought, right? We got a dub, though. It's all that matters.
Yeah,
How's everybody doing?
I was hoping and probably saying out loud, if we could get a little bit more points there, I would have felt a little bit better, better first half. But, we were communicating, we were just complaining, a lot like Cowboy Nation. But at the end, we get a big victory. We move on to next week with Chicago. Of course, Chicago's playing tonight. So what's your overall view of the game?
Kind of a ho-hum game, kind of what I thought. I would have liked to have had a little more ball security with certain people. Noah Brown. But he wasn't the only one. It seemed like they were sleepwalking a little bit. Like we talked about it. You have to know that the Lions were going to come out. Now they didn't look flashy. They were severely undermanned, not having Amon-Ra St. Brown was there, but he got hurt literally the first drive of the game. Swift, their running back, who is dynamic. I still think Dallas would have found a way to win the game, but they would have scored more points. Guaranteed. You saw they were in our area a lot. They were moving the ball. Like I said, it's just like everybody's got to back off of Dak. I wasn't happy with a couple of throws. So, your mental, needs to catch up to your physical. And right now he's behind in both, and you can't get mental just by watching on the sideline. So he's only going to get better. They had some pressure on him. He had to move around. I think he's better when he's on the move. Let's move forward. Get past that game, because the game scared me in the sense that that they can put up points. And if Dallas is in a point, me and you talked about it during the game. We were going back and forth texting. I wasn't happy with the play calling early. I just wasn't. You're putting too much on Dak. You're rushing to the side. I know there was a couple times we got stuffed, but when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, run the ball straight ahead in the A gap. Don't get cute. It gives you a chance on 4th down if you want to go.
Yeah, man. But that's how I was. We were back and forth, very frustrated. Before we jump further into this game, because there's a lot to break down, let's jump to the chat. Of course, we got Angelica Baron, Mark Hutchton. What's going on, man? How you doing on this Monday? It makes the Monday a little bit better when you can walk in with your chest high, even though they do have ammo, because we didn't look the greatest. But when you think of it in the overall picture, where the Eagles let them score a lot of points, or a lot of other teams, and I'm not going to just say them because the Patriots, handled them. But again, like you pointed out, a lot of their stars are gone right now. Swift has been out for their 3rd or 4th game right there. So
I think this is week 3, at least. Yes.
So there's
that was
a lot
big. We dodged a bullet there, because
I would agree too.
He's a handful.
Because when you look at this team, they're scrapping. I mean, Dan Campbell has them fighting every single game. And for about 3 quarters there, they really were taking it to us. And I was not liking I was with you. I did not like the play call from Kellen Moore a lot of the times. I liked the fact that we were running the ball. I didn't like how we were running it. When we went, again, I pointed out as well too. I'm like, it's 1 yard. You need 1 yard. What are you doing with Tony Pollard rushing off to the side? It just didn't make sense. A lot of the situational football, and I think that's what you were getting into, was that Kellen Moore doesn't understand how to call situational football. And so, and then you got other people.
It's almost like he runs the ball and we get 1 yard or we're stopped. He goes, see, we can't run, so we're going to drop back. And the very beginning, like the first drive, just not. I don't understand why we're not deferring. I don't understand that. Yeah. What are you trying to prove?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Play defense. If we're down,
that's the leading of this team.
It's almost like you didn't trust your defense. That's what that tells me, because when you defer, you want the ball in the 3rd quarter, and it could have killed us, man. We called a couple breaks yesterday that could have been just stretched the game, because I remember texting Phil at one point. I'm like, this game is late and it's closer than it should be. I knew it would be close to the halftime, but there needs to be that separation. And then it was a stagnant 3rd quarter, and then we'd show signs, and then we'd have a couple penalties, or we turn the ball over. it's
Yeah,
it
there
was
was a lot
very
of frustration.
frustrating watching.
Yeah, so that's
it
why
was
I
very
say
frustrated.
this is definitely a roller coaster type of game. I'm off of my little sync of my sounds, but inside the chat, let's go back. Elena Walker, we got Mike Aldana, we got
Mike Aldana, what's up?
we got Gina Thorne. I appreciate you guys coming through, especially the guys that aren't Cowboy fans coming in here and listening to us. And Mike almost forgot that we were on, but got that notification. So I appreciate you hitting that notification, Mike, man. Gina, I hope you're not driving like you always are. I'm starting to think maybe that you have that trucker's life as well.
Well, you got to remember, we go on at 4:00, and she lives in California, so she's probably on her way home from work.
I see.
So,
that makes more.
You know
sense.
what I mean?
Now the whole story makes more sense.
Yeah,
Eastside Herald,
West Coast.
Look at Eastside Herald, man.
Go Stros, yeah. I bet you like the Stros.
The fact
I'm a Phillies fan, and I was looking at the seats. They want $1,000 for standing room only. No, that's not going to happen. So unless I can get tickets cheaper, I ain't going to the game.
Yeah, I mean, Eastside Herald's a Texans fan as well too. So the fact that he can at least root for one of his teams, that's good for you, man.
Hey, Eastside, they haven't lost a game, so Phillies have their hands full.
So Mike, Jeff Goff, he was greedy when he took that shot downfield, and I agree. Like, this is the same thing. Like, even Dak did it. We got kind of like we ran the ball off the side. You had a holding call by Tyler Smith, and then all of a sudden, Dak just, I don't know if he just felt pressure that he needed to get the first down, because like second and 19 or whatever, he's like launching it down the field into coverage, triple coverage, and then he launches another one, and it's like, I'm like, what is going on?
Listen, I give him credit. He had no fear, but and listen, Noah Brown should have caught the first pass. I know it was high. They should have caught the first pass. He should have caught that ball. I'm sorry. He should have caught it.
Definitely got a rhythm going. I mean,
he was too worried about catching and going upfield. Yeah. As opposed to catching it. Nobody's saying you got to get 40 yards. Let's just get 17, 20 yards.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Brown had, for not a guy like not that CeeDee Lamb, he definitely had like a lot like CeeDee Lamb type of game where even in the second quarter, they were driving, they were trying to get a drive going right before the half to try to get into the end zone, and he gets hit, and Bryan's like, what is Noah doing? And I'm just like, I'm like, man, I can't really blame him for that one.
He saved our bacon. He saved our bacon, but it's the consistency. I ask a lot from CD because he's our number one. You can't drop balls once, maybe once a year. You could drop a ball where you're streaking down towards the end zone and it hits you right here. But it's already happened like more than once in the first 6 games. So it's the consistency with Noah Brown. He has the potential, but he needs to catch the balls. Yeah. He cannot fumble. This goes for anybody. If you're past, don't get greedy. If you know what I mean, everybody wants to get everything. You got to watch out, and you got to be careful, especially when you're in the red zone. If you don't get that extra yard, live to fight another play.
Yeah, I honestly agree, because like when you're talking about the receivers,
I'm with you, Alana. Go Philly. We're talking baseball.
When you're talking about the those wide receivers dropping those passes, stopping the momentum, either the offensive line wasn't great in the beginning as well too. You had some holding calls, so it just seemed like when I was like, the whole team was rusty. That's what it looked like.
But there's no reason to be rusty. Aiden Hutchinson was having his way. Yeah, and I kind of thought that they were going to have success, because it's one of those games where they don't have that dominant guy, so we're not going to have to shade or chip. And it didn't. They were just letting their guys, like Terrence Steele got beat bad a couple times too. Saw that too. And it was like, well, we're not playing a dominating defense, so we're going to leave them alone. And this is the NFL. You have to respect everybody. So nobody's saying you have to double team a guy, but you still need to keep those chips in your playbook where you have a tight end chip and then go out. You just have to do that. Because it always happens, right? They play in an inferior team. You could tell Dallas was the better team, but it doesn't matter. You got to put points on the board. And the longer that game went that it was close, the longer you're keeping this team who should not be. Yeah, that just goes to show how good Dallas is and the potential that they have. Because as scary as me and you may thought it was. The game was never really in doubt. But us as fans, we know better. The game's always in doubt until the final whistle. So I'm a little picky, but I think we need to respect everybody. James Nooks is in the house. What's up, y'all? I've seen the funniest cop pizzle video ever. Yeah. I haven't checked him out lately, but
he has a lot to be confident about. I get it. I mean, he can be louder. I keep hearing they're pulling stuff out, you know.
Yeah, shout out to Lord Brunson. Eagles are off, and he's still trolling the Cowboy fans. He was talking about, oh, you guys are still third place. Listen, everybody in the Division One. So I got news for you. One injury. That's how this league works. God forbid. And the Eagles, you want us to lose, Lord. You don't want us sniffing your coattails, because this league, it doesn't take much. You know, if you, God forbid, lose Hurts, or you lose A.J. Brown or something, or we saw your left tackle, you got the Giants are right there, and we're not far behind. So,
yeah. So, I mean, when we're talking about these wide receivers, again, going back, it just all circulates to what Dak and his performance. What did you think about his performance in general? Because that's basically what I was trying to get to when we talk about the drop
it was
passes.
Rusty. It was rusty to me. I don't think that the play calling really helped him. I don't mind the rollout as much. I like that. I want to see more of that. He needs to.
I like that he was running.
He was showing high early. I mean, in game one. I don't know what's going on there. It's a mechanic thing, I can tell you. I know I'm not going to be on him because he made some unbelievable throws yesterday as well. I think his decision making will get better the more he plays, but man, it was scary. He was showing in the triple coverage. Now, when he releases the ball, it's not triple coverage necessarily. They're not showing it, but he's got to be better than that. But I don't think it's a scapegoat. But I don't think Kellen did a lot to help him.
No, man. Just don't. When you look at Kellen, I mean, it just seems like he reverted. Like, oh, let's start whipping out the trick plays and like the reverses and. It's really frustrating. I didn't see a lot of two running back sets that I was hearing about, where you have Zeke and Tony in the backfield at the same time, and you can flank one out and you send one in motion. I didn't see a lot of 12 personnel. That's what I was going to tell you. That's exactly what I was going to say when we were talking about the tight ends. Yeah, I didn't see any of that.
People, we don't know what we're talking about, right? Like when we see that, we're just going to go. They put our quarterback at risk and just go, like his first game back.
But I think everybody
in the chat here,
everybody in the frustration in the sense that, like, when you saw the basic vanilla plays get ran, they worked, and so that's what it was like. Come on, Kellen, what are you trying to pull this stuff out? So he's Mike says Lord Brunson denies that there's any weakness with his team. And that's true. I mean, even when you ask them in general what's the best logo out there for the team, they'll jump and throw theirs in there. It's like, okay.
Their logo.
Yeah, I mean, just everything. It's everything. It's, we have the best restrooms in the whole NFL stadiums. And, like, it's everything. Every category, they own it,
Yeah.
So, I'm definitely with you on that one. He says, I don't...
Listen, they're 6-0, so we can't say much. But
no, exactly. And they're going to get a lot more victories.
What I was getting to is, you don't need to criticize us after our win. You will, but
you will.
It's trolling, and that's what they do. It's annoying.
So James Nook says, I don't see the Giants beating Seattle. I think their luck ends this week. Seattle's been playing better. But do you rely?
Giants have been playing good.
Yeah, they seem to stay in it. The defense has been playing pretty well to keep the offense within the game.
Their D line is getting good too. Yeah, they're getting a lot of pressure, because you saw what Jacksonville did to the Eagles, and they did not do that against the Giants. That's why I said these Eagle people that are talking, they're in for a rude awakening. To go wire to wire is very hard in this year. Yeah. It's very hard in the NFL. I'm not going to get on the Eagles, so let's move on. But let's just say the Giants are playing good. Let's respect what they're doing. We're their only loss. We should take pride in that.
I like that the division is competitive. I mean, it's because even though they are our competition, you just never like hearing the NFL, any of those guys talk about the NFC East, NFC least, and there's nobody coming out of there, and they suck, and Kyle Brandt with his whole thing most of the time. So, The Giants, I got to give them credit because their victories are a little different than previous. If you're blowing out teams or whatever, but the fact that you're hanging in there and you're winning things at the end, that just gets you ready for playoff football. Now the question is, how long can you keep it going? Can your starters stay healthy? Because once that starts to go, because that it's the depth behind there. So I like our depth, and that's what's kind of kept us in games. When the defense all of a sudden switches out. You have Micah Parsons obviously wreaking havoc, but then you have a newcomer, and of course Sam Williams. We all saw Sam Williams. We all have our hopes within Sam Williams, but you see Sam Williams come out, have a 2-sack game, just with more playing time. So I like it. I mean, I like the fact that he got it's not the fact that he hit the quarterback and stuff. That he had the awareness to grab onto that ball and just grab it and yank it instead of just going, "Oh, I see the quarterback. Let me just hit him." He went and got the over. That was good.
He's going to be a guy that the more he plays, the more the more he's going to get better. And I'm glad that they're getting him in there. I wish they would do the same to Jalen Tolbert because the kid can't get better unless he's in the game. Yeah. So very frustrating on that front. But
I don't think it's going to get any better.
Sam Williams is. Yeah, I don't.
James Washington coming around the corner, maybe next week.
Okay,
probably after the bye.
He's our young guy. We need to see if he's good to go. He's not getting any better not being in the game. So I would like to know what the heck's going on there. But James Nooks says right now our offense isn't really built to score a lot of points, but our defense keeps teams from scoring a lot. Yeah, and I agree. But the better teams, we're going to need to put up points. Our running game
early too, man. Not just.
I like our running game. It really does come down to Kellen Moore. I know I'm being a cop-out, but I think he's just doing a horrible job in the play calling, especially early in games.
Oh, my God,
yes. But if I could have one guy, I brought this guy up just because our run defense leaks a little bit. It does. I'm not a big Tristan Hill fan. Everybody keeps talking about, Lord, he flashed. He's not great against the run. He gets thrown around a little bit. I would love to have Derek Brown here. It wouldn't take that much to put him in, the rotation at defensive tackle. Man, that's who I would want. That would shore up our run. Everybody wants to talk about receiver, and I don't see us getting a receiver. I just don't. Because we can't get the ball to our receivers now, let alone go out and give up a high pick for one.
Yeah, because
unless it's an established guy. I mean, Derek Brown. Give me Derek Brown. We need help on the run game. We need stopping the run.
So to jump on that with the playmakers and wide receivers and everything, you see a guy, a nice weapon there in Turpin that you saw. Angelica, you and I, we were close. He didn't get the touchdown, but he got the longest.
For every week. Now it's you and her.
Hey, we got the longest kickoff return in the NFL this year, so we'll take that. Whether it's punt return, I think it was a punt return. But
I think
either
his
way,
legs move faster than he can handle. You know how like us old people, we get on a downhill, like a severe downhill, and our legs can't keep up. And then we just end up falling over eventually. I think that's what's going on. I think his legs are too fast, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he jumps up every single time, and I'm telling Bryan, I wish this guy would just quit jumping. But I like the confidence. He's going in there. He feels like he's like Jerome Bennis. Every time Jerome Bennis jumped up, he had that little kick with his legs because he thought he was gonna run it and stuff. So you like his confidence. It was a good timing within the game. We really needed that return. So. Again, that's what I see. I see him, being able to bring that elusiveness, but you have a weapon like that, and the fact that the defense, when you come in, you're just running two things with him. It's either the reverse or screen, or are you taking a shot downfield? You're never taking a shot downfield.
Right.
So it's like the defense knows. I don't know if they're trying to just set it up for later in the season. That to fake the screen and have it run straight. I don't know what they're doing there, but it's very predictable. And so, you see guys like Tyreek Hill where, they get these little screens out, and it's not behind the line of scrimmage. It's 5 yards downfield. I mean, you don't necessarily need to throw negative plays in order to get him positive yards.
Yeah.
So it's it's just Kellen Moore not being able to, basically get his guys open into space, not, scheming. You can come up with a play, but doesn't know when to call it. So, so right now, I'm going to bring in my special guest here, and we're going to switch over to the layout. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, as we're talking about this, Joe's going to go ahead and kind of get in here. For CowboysBlog is going to join us here. So, put the nice little graphics. I kind of changed it up. Have his banner down here on the side there. So you guys can and his link as well. I pinned his link in the comments section there, so you guys can follow him as well. So he'll be working his way in here. So
the backflip was on point, Angelica. I liked his backflip.
Yeah, and it was like I kind of felt like a little bit at the end, like are we rubbing it in their face a little bit? So I was kind of like, okay, well that's why we're gonna use Turpin. The only time we use Turpin is for backflips. But
Alana Walker, half my family is Eagles fans. Yeah, I live over in South Jersey, Alana. So everybody around me is an Eagle fan. But we got a lot of Cowboys fans around here, but there he is.
What's going on, Joe?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, so hopefully we're not getting too much feedback. I try to feed the audio back into it, so I apologize.
That's good, man. How are y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Your studio is looking nice, man. I'm liking the start. I like the Jimmy Johnson in the background. At least you put him on your Ring of Honor compared to Jerry not putting him on ours. Yeah. So at least somebody's representing.
Somebody's got to do it, man.
Yeah.
So Joe,
come on now.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Jimmy.
So we were talking about the game. We're talking about different aspects, jumping on the comments and what they were talking about. What did you feel going into the game compared to now? How do you feel after the game?
I felt the game overall went kind of like how I thought it was going to go. I think, obviously there was a rust there, but, not too much. I think Dak did a good job rehabbing, getting right and everything. And the only thing I didn't really particularly like were some of those deep balls. Those seemed like they didn't have enough zip on them. They kind of floated a little bit. But I think it'll improve, as he gets more games under his belt. So, but yeah, I think it went how it went. I was kind of worried that Kellen might change it up and they might go back to game one, pass happy, abandon the run. They didn't do that. So I was pleased about that,
Yeah, I was pleased that Tony got his. Wasn't as impressive as sometimes, because some of those runs, like you thought he was going to run it out into the end zone if he kept running to the side, but then he cut it back in, and you're just like, okay, what happened, Tony? But the fact is that he can bust a 50-yard run, and I can't, so I can't really discredit his ability. Now, as we talk about the running game, I got a little bit nervous. I don't know about you guys. I saw the hyperextension. It looked like a hyperextension. I thought something had happened right there with Zeke. And then he turns around and followed it up with like a nice little hurdle. So I love the running by Zeke. I mean, I like how he's running. But I more question the fact that we had a 3rd and 1, and they're sweeping with Tony to the side where you're running like 12, 17 yards. So that's where I was getting with Kellen Moore, and I wasn't really liking how he was calling those running plays. But again, at least he's running the ball, and I think that's where we can all agree we need to do more.
Oh yeah, for sure. So some of the reverses that they do, they're like really wide and really
wide,
far in the backfield. Like I don't get that. Like those are almost
it
always
hasn't worked yet. I think there was one last week that actually worked but it didn't get what you would want. I think it netted like 4 yards, but compared to everything else being -8 and -9, I agree. I'm hard on Kellen, but I just thought early in the game, I just didn't. What I liked was when they rolled Dak out. Yeah, I understand. I don't know what you think, Joe. I think that Noah should have caught the ball. I think he was too worried about catching and going upfield. I know it was high. You got to catch that ball for Dak. You have to catch the ball. But I like that because when he, moves out of the pocket, it opens things up. He's going to have to get back into doing that. I don't think he is shying away from that, but it's up to Kellen to call a good game and put him in positions, man. I was looking to see more 2 running back sets, maybe some more 12 personnel. Didn't see much of it. So just wanted your thought on Kellen Moore's play calling, Joe.
I'm not a fan of Kellen Moore, to be honest. Be full transparency here. I just I still feel like it's a learning and process type of deal, right? It's like we don't have time to be training coordinators, and that's kind of what we do here in Dallas, with Garrett and Kellen and these sorts of things. But I'm with you. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think Dak really succeeded his rookie season with the boots, the naked boots.
It
If they
always
can bring
opens
that
up.
back,
It opens the field up.
for sure.
People say, well, it shuts half the field down. Listen, if people are running and you're creating an angle for the receiver, I just was upset at Noah because like, oh, well, Dak overthrew it. I knew it was high. Don't get me wrong. I know it wasn't a great pass. It hit his hands. He should have caught the ball. He was too worried about going upfield. Just my opinion. And there's another thing that's really bothering me. What are you hearing? I don't know where you're out of, but, why isn't Jalen Tolbert getting any time? We see what's going on with Sam Williams. He's starting to get better with each rep that he gets. Why is it Jalen Tolbert in the game at all? I mean, do you have an answer, please?
Yeah, no, I think this is something that we're gonna probably find out at the end of the season when some of the crumbs come out, But for me, it's very concerning. It's a 3rd round pick, you know what I mean? And there was all this hoopla around it, leading up to the season, like, oh, he's practicing with Dak, they're doing this and that, and they had a couple of connections during mini camp without pads.
Like, what happened?
The pads came on. I don't know. I feel like he doesn't do well under the lights. Some of these guys.
He hasn't had much time though. I think I'm hearing his practice habits. Well, you heard the old adage. These young guys need to learn how to be a professional and learn how to practice. So I get all that, but you see what's going on with Sam Williams. He needs play time. He was a little raw. He's still raw. Let's face it. But you could see that with every rep. He's getting it. The light's starting to come on more and more. Is he perfect? No, he's got a long way to go. But man, is that the talent is there, and it's not like that we're, Noah Brown. I like him. He saved our bacon, but I'm just looking for that other guy. Everybody wants to say, well, let's go out and trade for a guy. We're not trading for anybody. We're not trading for a wide receiver. So why not get our young talent in, get him some reps?
Yeah. No, it definitely kind of has like that vibe that he's in the doghouse kind of vibe. We've seen this before with Cowboys and different kinds of players. Obviously, they won't come out and say it, but when you're not out there, you're being deactivated. Yeah. James Washington, he's making his way back, so that makes you wonder. Once James Washington comes back, is this guy just deactivated the rest of the year? Like
maybe IR'd or just I know it is terrible for a 3rd round pick. I mean. It is
somewhere else, but
well, as we're talking
Cowboys
about,
aren't perfect.
No, God, far from it. Yeah, as we're talking about some of these young talent, Dak goes ahead and throw his first touchdown of the season to one of our young talents in Hendershot, a guy that I feel gets a penalty every single game, whether it's a personal foul, but this time he traded it in for a touchdown, and I'll easily take that. I thought it was Schultz for a second because I was like, dyslexic or whatever, and I just switched the number, and I was like, oh, Schultz finally got one, and but no, it was and Schultz even got involved. So I mean, but the Hendershot, Ferguson, I like the two combination. What are your thoughts on our young tight ends?
The future's bright, right? I mean, Schultz, I think the writing's on the wall. He'll probably find himself a nice contract somewhere else. Cowboys probably aren't going to want to pay that. It would be nice to keep him around because you see, he missed Dak, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't really have that cohesion with Cooper, but Dak is back. Dak to Schultz, that connection is back. But yeah, the young tight ends, I think they're going to turn into something, man. Ferguson kind of has shades of some of these new age kind of tight ends. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about like a Kittle or, Kelsey, and this type of thing. And Hendershot, if, like you said, clears up the penalties, he's going to be something good for us too. So it's going to be good. It's going to be
spicy. I think we're fine with tight end. I even don't have a problem with McKeon. So I'm with you. No, I'm not trying to dog on Schultz. I told Phil that Schultz, I don't think should have been playing. He should have. He should be given those 2 weeks going and then the bye week and come back after. He made some good plays. He's got that PCL just like Zeke. Now I don't. Obviously, the way he's moving around, it's different for a receiver, but like the tight end. To me, he's a receiver because his blocking. He's not even as good as the two rookie guys blocking. But why not just sit him? Do we really need him? It's like I think we need to have a long-term view with Schultz. We'll worry about next year. We all see the writing on the wall. I assumed that they would just bring him back for the franchise again because it's still 13.8 1 or 2 mil, which seems like a lot, but it really isn't. But if our other guys develop, like Joe's saying, it might be the end. But let's worry about that at the end of the year. Give this guy a couple more games. But they threw him right out there. He got hurt literally on the first series of the game.
Yeah,
he came back, and I believe it's his PCL, and it's just not stable. Maybe it's an issue where it's not ever going to get better until the end of the year. I don't know. So
yeah, as we're talking
shaky.
about the injury, we see Jordan Lewis get a dive for an interception, makes an amazing play, but gets hurt and looks like he's going to be out for the season.
He had surgery. He's out.
Oh, so he's out. So I'm excited about Bland. I know a lot of people are saying the same. I am not excited about the injury. It sucks, but again, something sometimes has to fall apart in order to make way for better things. And Bland, I mean, of course, like any rookie or any corner in the league, and you have to have a short memory, he's going to get beat, and he's shown that he has his rookie moments, but he was right on the hip, and he's not like an Anthony Brown on the hip where he's always allowing the play. He's getting some interceptions. He's making some plays, and so he's been showing that at a very young career in this league. So I'm excited to see him come in and most likely, get that slot position. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think we all saw what he did in training camp in preseason, right? So he's able to handle the lights. We know that, and hit the ground running. So I think we're in good hands there. You know what I mean?
He's got good ball skills.
Leadership, but the ball skills are definitely there. So I think you'll get more takeaways from him than you probably will with J. Lou, to be honest.
Yeah, and I was telling Phil yesterday, we were texting back and forth during the game. It's funny how, not that he's out of the mix, but we're all saying, I would say probably because he's not a slot corner, but we're going right to Bland, and Kelvin Joseph is kind of like, hey, look at me. Yeah, I mean, how about me? But he hasn't really taken advantage of his reps. I don't think Kelvin Joseph is a slot corner, so it would be Bland. But it's just funny how our second round pick is just really not being mentioned. He's going to have to step up sooner or later. It's not good for him that he's not seeing any work on the.
Yeah, I think the only job Kevin Joseph is taking is maybe C.J. Goodwin's on the special teams, but it just doesn't look great when he's on the field. That.
I was calling for him to be released. I was surprised that they held a spot for him, because that's what they did. They basically said he took the training camp off to save his body, but he's not making any plays in special teams. It's Kelvin Joseph, and it's good. It's gonna. I'm sure it already did it. It cost somebody a roster spot. It's like disappointed that they did that. He's not making any plays as far as I see, meaning C.J. Goodwin.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at our secondary, you go back to like a next level. You see the safeties. The safeties, Kearse was kind of getting cooked a little bit with the tight end. But the fact that you can leave him over on the tight end is good. Of course, everybody's going to have their bad day. But, he definitely had his hands full yesterday. You still had some guys making some plays within the secondary. But when it all comes around to this defense, you talk about Dan Quinn and, of course, the defensive line and what they can do. You have the young talent of Sam Williams actually making some plays. Micah Parsons, of course, wreaking havoc. The guy that worries me a little bit on that line yesterday was Osa, and it had nothing to do with the game. I like his aggressiveness, but I feel like he's always extra after the play, and it just always seems like there's a ref having to talk to him, and I just feel like at some point that's going to bite us in the ass with a 15-yard penalty or something like that. So, but getting past that, what do you guys think about this defensive line? Are you guys excited? How he's rotating these guys around. I mean, there's not one guy staying in one position, and you see some of these guys standing up, kind of confusing this offense. How are you guys liking this defensive line? What do you guys, in the sense of before the season, and how they're actually living up to that, Joe?
Yeah, I think they have a good rotation across the board. You know what I mean? But I will say that if I want to upgrade something in the offseason or via the draft, I think it's still defensive tackle to me, which is unfortunate. We're still chasing somebody.
Yes,
Gallimore. I don't think Gallimore has ever.
I was just saying, Joe, before you got on, everybody is calling for these splashy receivers. I was saying, if there's one guy I could have that would give me an immediate impact, if we're going to make a trade, you could probably get him on a decent where you don't get a totally, giving away your picks would be a Derek Brown. I think you need a guy like him to help you come in and instantly up, grade or run defense. I mean, our run defense is good, but I think that would be a big move. And people, we need a receiver. We need help on the D line. As much as we have, you can never have enough. And I'm not a big Tristan Hill guy. I mean, I know he was on the trade block, so we hear he's not great against the run. I would rather have a guy like Derek Brown. So it's funny you say that because that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
As you can tell, Joe, it's a sensitive subject for Bryan. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but you got to stop the run, man. You got to stop the run, and you got to be able to run the ball, and that's what it is. That's what it's about. Everything else is gravy. We want to throw the ball, but the teams that are just dropping back, throwing 35, 40 times, most of them, it's a week-to-week league. Most of them aren't on a consistent winning. That's just not a way to do it. So.
Yeah, but how are you liking the D line, Joe? We're talking about defensive tackle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like what Sam Williams is coming along like we talked about earlier. You like that? This was by far his best game. He had a big impact on the game.
I don't think that was Sam Williams. I think they switched jerseys with Micah Parsons, and I think that was actually Micah, and they just switched it around. But I'm liking it.
Yeah, I think the star is bright for him. You know what I mean? As long as he keeps his head straight and he does all the right things in the offseason, I think we'll be good there. D-Law, he definitely has his niche here, with run defense. I think he's great there. You can play him on the inside, outside, and he'll give you some pressure. Dorrance, to me, man, I don't know. He has his moments, but sometimes he disappears still. Like this last game, it's like where was he even in this game? Man?
He was picking up fake fumbles. That's what he was doing.
So I just, if Dorrance could just be consistent each week, game in, game out, he would be a superstar.
Yeah, he'll make the splash play, but it seems, which is great, but it seems like the down in and down out, he's not consistent. And we say, oh my God, look at Dorrance. He's got this amount of sacks, but then he gets blowed off the ball or he's undisciplined in his rush. It's like, well, that was Dorrance too. It's not easy. Exactly. It's not easy playing that position in this league, but we got to keep it real. We got to call it how we see it. Dorrance is up and down. He is. When he's up, he's great. I think less snaps for a guy like that is good. Keep him in a rotation. You let him have his snaps, just like Dante Fowler. I think he's better with a limited rotation role. So it's working out good. But let's be honest, Dorrance has his shortcomings, and it's just being consistent. I think. I would say.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, when you, this defense in general, but when you're talking about the injuries along there, you got Neville Gallimore that can't, he seems to have that little niche where he's injured. But you got a guy like Damone Clark coming, hopefully playing this year. I don't want to rush anything, but I get excited about him because of the potential that he can have. Obviously, they're not, you don't see a guy like Jabril Cox on the field a whole lot, so it kind of goes, oh, how much are they? You're really going to use Damone Clark?
He re-aggravated that injury, Phil. Jabril. He re-aggravated it. His knee isn't 100%. That's why he's, Jabril's probably begging not to be put on the IR. But that last preseason game, he did something because they were talking him up.
Yeah.
And I think your linebacking is just, you're as good as the guys in front of you. If you're clean and you could run to the ball, I think that's what's good. We've suffered a little bit like Van Der Esch. Sometimes Van Der Esch will just outright miss a hole to make the tackle into the backfield. Sometimes he just misses 100%. So I'm with you. If we can get Damone Clark, I think a decision has to be made, right, Joe? It has to be made soon. His window is about to close, right?
Yeah, I think last week it was 2 weeks, so I think it's got to come sometime
soon,
this week,
right?
probably.
Yeah. I would think that he would be active, Phil. Added to the roster. I'm just waiting to see
what they end up doing. They may end up taking, if you're talking about that with Jabril Cox, they may end up moving him over there to.
I think he definitely aggravated something because he hasn't sniffed the field.
Yes, but as we're talking about that, as we're talking about the injuries coming back, I totally forgot about Terrell Basham. You got Basham with the possibility of coming back as well too. Where do they make room for him in this defense of line? Because I'm liking where everybody else has been, but what do you see? Carlos Watkins jump back in, obviously. You can only have so many people. Is this a trade possibility here as the trade deadline comes up? What are your thoughts on Terrell Basham coming back into the lineup, Joe?
I think Basham's okay. I think he's kind of on the level of a Dante Fowler. You know what I mean? You talk about less reps are better for certain players. Basham's definitely in that category for me. He's not somebody that you want to have in there. A lot of snaps. Sometimes he takes plays off. I'm not the biggest fan. I've been waiting for somebody, either a draft pick or another free agent to bounce him off the team. But the Cowboys like him. You know what I mean? I mean, he does make plays here and there. No.
Hey, I'm hearing like trade bait, like type of deal. Not that you get a lot for a Basham, but you'll get maybe a 5th or a 6th, probably a 6th round pick if you're lucky. But that's what I'm hearing. Maybe trade him before the deadline. He's a good rotational guy, but we have enough of those guys. We have it like Joe just said. We have a Fowler. Something to give there. I think. Just attrition to play a game. I mean, obviously Jordan Lewis has been put on IR, so that opens things up a little bit. This league every week it's taking somebody out. It seems like.
Yeah,
so
it is.
So
the depth. You need the depth.
Like a lot of this will work its way out by itself, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens at the deadline. Like, when is that? The beginning of November, right?
Yeah.
November 1st.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, okay. Shoot. I didn't realize that. That's coming around the corner, that Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, as we start to kind of wind this thing down, any last thoughts about the game as we just decide to push that behind us and watch the Chicago Bears actually get a one less day, but of course the Chicago Bears that we're in the face.
Let me say that real quick. Like the schedule makes sure actually gave us a break a little bit. The Bears are home, but they're playing on a Monday night. So, listen, even though I thought we were going to win anyway, that helps. Mm-hmm. That's one less day.
Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on this game overall before we move into the next game, Joe? Anything you want to say to just say let's put this behind us now?
They're still battling penalties. Obviously, it's still hounding the Cowboys.
Good point.
It was like I said, it was a tell of two halves. I don't like that. I want 4 quarters of solid football. The score didn't really reflect. That first half.
Not at all.
That first half was atrocious, but the second half, they did their adjustments. They got their head, out of their ass, as you could say.
Yeah.
And they got it going. But yeah, man, as the season gets going, if you're thinking about playoffs, you got to play 4 full quarters.
Yeah, because I think the way we played yesterday, it would be another Eagles situation where we're losing 20-3 at halftime as opposed to what it was. It was ugly at times, and like the penalties and the play calling. But that just shows you how good that we are and can be, how talented, because I never thought we were going to lose as ugly as it was. But I was telling Phil, it's like the longer the game went, I said, you're keeping the door open to lose it, to get yourself an L with a team like this. The longer you keep them around, and then it turned, but I still think it was closer than a score.
I still feel like we got our ass beat. I still felt like
you know what I mean? It was just like embarrassing, but I kind of called it. I said it was going to be a ho-hum game. Just get the W and move on. Let's get to the bye week 6 and 2. I'm just kind of one more week. Let's get to the bye, because I do think I'm very impressed with how we come out in the third quarter. I think our adjustments are really good. I really,
especially defensively. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So, so everybody that's going to watch this on the playback, I appreciate Joe coming on here. I did, in the chat, if you guys, I did put his YouTube channel on, pin it there so you guys can jump on him if you have not seen him. Him and Joe from Mike from Cowboys Corner do their thing, and it's great, especially when you get Mike on a little roll. Joe's really good to counter it there, to keep him calm and stuff. So, I appreciate you coming on, Joe. Honestly, to tell you the truth, when we were doing this, the streaming before in the beginning of the season, you were one of the main guys I wanted to get on this show. So I reached out again before, a long time ago when I first started the channel a year and a half ago, and I asked, I asked him, hey, how do if you could suggest anything, and you would just like put the content out there, just keep putting it out there, be consistent, and just like that, man. I've been consistent watching you guys, so you hold it down, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
No, I appreciate it, Phil. It's yeah, man. I've been trying to get on here, and I saw, like I said, I saw your comment. I was like, man, I gotta get some time and get on Phil's show here, man. I like what you do, man. You're keeping it real. You know what I mean? That's very important. You know what I mean? We don't want to be fluffing up these fans.
That's the thing. That's how I am. And sometimes, like Phil will say, well, we got it. Yeah, like the chat. I said, I got to be honest, man. I'm going to call it how I see it. If that means being a little, scrutinize my team that I love, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call it how we see it,
That's the way to do it, man.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know you have something to jump on at 8 o'clock here. So can you just go ahead and let everybody, let them know where they can find you if they haven't already?
Yeah, guys. Now, first, appreciate you, Phil, like I said, having me on here. Bryan, great meeting you, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks, buddy.
You. I think you know your stuff, obviously, so great meeting you. But, guys, you can find me on Twitter, on CowboysBlog. Just look up CowboysBlog net. And on YouTube, CowboysBlog on YouTube. You can hit me up.
I subscribed yesterday. I've watched your videos, but like Phil really got me onto you, man. So you got me.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it, guys.
You got it.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming into the chat, letting us know like you guys are awesome. Mark is in there. We're probably going to join Mark later as well, but Joe as well, man. Joe's got some stuff as well that he's constantly doing as well. So I appreciate you coming on. And with that, we're going to go ahead with the ending credits. And again, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to ring the bell.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And of course, my co-host, GameTime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.